Hi, everyone. Hope you're doing well, being safe, and being kind. Thank you so much for joining me for this video, and welcome to Tarot by the Pines. I am your whimsical host for this channel, Jason. So this video has been in the making for a really long time, folks. This is going to be my full and comprehensive review of a deck that has seen a lot of love on this channel. It is my all-time favorite tarot deck, my Grand Dame, the Everyday Witch Tarot. This is going to be a long video, so grab a snack, grab a drink, whatever you need as I build a case on why this is my all-time favorite tarot deck. Not that I need to build a case, but just to elaborate on why this deck is so important to me. This is going to be a very positive video review, but I do have a few critiques. So join me as I give my thoughts and opinions on my Grand Dame. I'm going to preface this video by saying that the Everyday Witch Tarot is my favorite tarot deck ever. Not to say that it is perfect, because it is not. It does have a couple flaws, but it is damn near perfect in my book. It is by Deborah Blake, and the artwork is by Elizabeth Alba. The back of the box says black cats, pointed hats, and magic brooms too. Favorable fortunes for curious witches. A fun, practical, easy-to-use tarot kit for every witch. Charming images pair with simple explanations to make this the go-to deck for anyone seeking to learn or practice the tarot. Based on the classic Rider-Waite deck, but updated for the busy, modern witch, this tarot has a whimsical air while still being dedicated to the serious job of providing answers to life's tough questions. Author Deborah Blake brings her friendly, approachable style to a tarot experience that focuses on the positive, includes a deck with brilliant art and a full color guidebook. So going off of this, this deck is easy to use. It is very beginner friendly. What I really like about this deck is that even the most hardest cards that you'll get in a reading, like the Three of Swords, Death, maybe 10 of Swords, 10 of Wands, they're all whimsical and playful, but it's still, will bring across that meaning of those particular cards. It is very lighthearted, and it makes tarot not intimidating. So this is a Llewellyn production, and I love Llewellyn decks. I went back into my shopping history. I purchased this deck back in April of 2019, so this deck is older than my Chanel. I thought I had a different deck that I purchased earlier than this, but I guess the internet does not lie. So this was one of my first people tarot decks, and it is a Llewellyn. I love Llewellyn because it has this very big sturdy box. The cards come in here, and it has a ribbon that you can pull open or pull up to get the cards out easier, as well as the guidebook sits right here. Love Llewellyn, big stand for Llewellyn. So one of the major highlights for me is the actual guidebook. I know you all want to see the cards and want me to discuss them, but we'll get to that momentarily. This is a hefty book. It has over 200 pages, and I love this book because not only is it full color, glossy, but it smells amazing. Get a big whiff of this. It smells like ink and high quality paper. So full color, like I said, which I am a big kid for full color. I love looking at pictures. Gives a brief description about the author and the artist, table of contents, and then it goes into the introduction of how this deck came about. That's what I really love about themed decks, that go into a little history of how the deck came to life. Then it goes into chapter 1, which is basically a little history about the tarot. It talks about the suits, the minor and major arcana, what the suits mean, represent, and then how to use the tarot. And it talks about how to do a reading. So it's very easy to read, and it's very accessible to a beginner to tarot. Chapter 2 is about the Q&A of like common questions, like what is a signifier, what are reversals, do we use them, And then it has some spells here. If you are into spells, then this is awesome to have in your arsenal. Yeah, another spell. Okay, so chapter 3 is the beginning of the major arcana. It's going to have the title, and then it has like a sentence that overview, like gives like a, not an affirmation, but of like what you can get from the card without reading all the text. What I really like about this guidebook, especially for the majors, it talks about what's going on in the card. So for the Fool here, you have this pretty decent big picture, and then it has the title of the card, and then it has a quote, and then it has things to consider, which is basically she'll give a few questions to jump off of, and then just brings it back to the meaning of the card. Let's see. And what I also really love about this deck in particular is that there are no Roman numerals. As someone who struggles with Roman numerals, you will not find this in this deck, which is a win-win. And then for most of the cards, you'll have like a little notes section. I know for the majors you have notes, but for some of the minors, or most of the minors, you don't have this, which is fine. But it's great for someone who, you know, can jot down their thoughts of that particular card. Again, goes into like what's going on in the card. I really love that about a themed deck. Okay, let's skip a chapter and go into the minor. All right, minor arcana. So basically you're going to get this same as the major, but for the minor you're going to get like a little bit less of verbiage, but that's fine. That's typical in books, or typical in tarot decks these days. The minor gets less love than the majors, but you still get those few, you know, a sentence statement that you can just jump off of with the meaning, and then it has a little quote. I think these quotes are like something the character would say in the card, which is really nice. Another good example. Get less verbiage, but still this is written by Deborah Blake, which she's really good at making all of the meanings relatable and just easy to understand and read. So going after the minor, I think the last chapter is just spreads. Yeah, chapter 4 is just spreads. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the cards. So beginning with the major arcana, we have the Fool. Very traditional, has the witch on her broom about to walk off of the ledge with the cat holding on for dear life. Basically, take a leap of faith. Now, there is going to be a cat in every single picture. So if you aren't a cat person, then this deck might not be good for you. Going into the Magician, also very traditional, has all the 4 suits on the table. There's the black cat. Again, no Roman numerals, love that. High Priestess is one of my favorites because it makes this card so relatable to me and just makes it more concise and understanding. Has tarot cards, runes, crystal ball, and all of the books, as well as the 2 candles act as the pillars. The Empress, very traditional, has a pregnant Empress that's all about motherhood, Mother Earth. Going into the Emperor, not one of my favorite Emperors. Again, though, Emperor cards are not my favorite in general. Again, like I said, this deck is not perfect. There are some cards that I don't get or I just don't find interesting. The Hierophant I see as a religion card, but in the Everyday Witch Tarot, this makes it less stuffy. So I see this as a meditating card. Okay. The Lovers, I enjoy this Lovers. It's not, the Lovers card is not always about a relationship. It could mean like a really deep friendship, and I really love this about the Lovers. You have 2 cats here that are intertwined, have 2 witches here that are just holding hands. The Chariot, love this Chariot, have this way going here and that way here with the witch in her little vehicle here, and then the cat is is joining for the ride. The strength, love the strength. This witch is very comfortable with the lion, and she's very comfortable with her own strength. She knows that she has the ability. As you can see here, she has the wand controlling the tornado, like keeping it at bay. Love that. The hermit, very traditional, has the witch secluded, going, to find that wisdom, that inner peace. And as you can see here, there's an owl here that represents that wisdom. Wheel of Fortune, one of my favorites. The Wheel of Fortune cards has always been a little basic to me, but this, it brings it in. It has all these different icons on the wheel, and it's just like, this is literally a wheel that you spin, and it's basically a gambler's luck. Like, what is this going to land on? The Justice, love this Justice. It is with two cats here, a black and a white, good versus evil perhaps, and then it has the book here that says Law. All about that, finding that balance, and just, I really like this Justice. The Hanged Man, love this. See, as the witch is bound, but if you look closely, the witch actually has the key to unlock. The Death card, one of my favorites, because this makes it seem like there's two doors here. One is closed, one is open. Basically, when one door closes, another opens. And then here there is a rope that seems like it's about to snap. Temperance. This is all about that balance. You have sweets on the left, and then you have vegetables on the right. See, the witch is balancing, has one eye open, one eye closed. All about that, finding that balance between sweets or indulgence versus healthy. Love that. The Devil, one of my favorites. It takes that temptation, that devil aspect in tarot, and just brings it down. It doesn't make it seem very intimidating. This shows here a man tempting these, I guess, young adults with money, and then there's this ice cream cone here. It just makes it less intimidating and just more accessible, and it just brings the meaning to life. The Tower here, this is a little different take of the Tower. This witch here, it seems as this witch actually used her magic to bring the tower down. It's not something that has happened by forces of nature. This happened because this witch wanted to make it happen. The Star card, not one of my favorites. It doesn't seem as interesting as the other majors here. Just see a witch with as above as below. Very calming, but not as interesting as the others. The Moon card here, it shows a cat, but once looking into the water highlighted by the moon, it looks like there is like a panther here. It's very mysterious, and I love that. The Sun card, the Sun card in general of tarot with the naked baby on the horse, never been my favorite. It's all about joy, radiance, and it's just much better than the naked baby on the horse. The Judgment card, I've always struggled with the meaning of judgment, and here I still struggle with it. The guidebook does help a little, but again, it's just a card that I still struggle with today. The World, one of my favorites. This seems like the witch is at a completed stage. She can let her hat down, she can let her hair down, and just go with the wind. It's very calming, soothing, and it's just a happy moment. We are at the Minor Arcana, which I like to call the Minor Arcana the meat and potatoes of the tarot, because these represent the everyday situations that we come across. So we begin with the aces, which is the beginning of each suit. The Ace of Swords has a witch with the sword in the air. The witch here for the Ace of Cups has a cup that overfilleth or overrunneth with emotion, and it has that water dripping down as it seems like it's watering a flower and making it bloom. The Ace of Wands here has a witch by the campfire, and it has all of these expressive tools with their creativity just coming to life, as a paintbrush, music, a book, a writing utensil as a feather. And then the Ace of Pentacles here, it has a witch that is going out and venturing with the pentacle in their hand as well as a broomstick. Love these aces. I love how it represents the beginning of each suit and it represents them very well. Now for the Two of Swords, this one is a little tricky for me. I am very used to the person in the card having both swords, but here the sword, one of the swords is already at the target, whereas the witch is about to throw the second sword. The guidebook tries to relate it to what's going on in the card. I'm still a little confused. Two of Cups here have two people assumingly on a date, but again, the Two of Cups doesn't mean relationships or romantic relationships. It could be friendships. The Two of Wands here has a witch with the world in their hands. And the Two of Pentacles here has the witch on a balancing act pretty much. As you can see here, though, there's a black cat that is about to tip that scale. I really enjoy this image of how the Two of Pentacles is. It's about finding that balance, or finding a balance before that scale is tipped. Going into the Three of Swords here, I really love this because you have the broken heart, you have that trauma, but the person that has this trauma is literally writing it down in a journal, as you can see here. Basically releasing all of that negative energy and just moving on. Love that. The Three of Cups here have three witches and looks like three cats here that are really celebrating each other and celebrating time with each other. Three of Wands here, you have this witch here, has one wand going out, venturing, but still has that two wands here just in case they need it. And then Three of Pentacles is all about that teamwork. You know, teamwork makes the dream work. Going into the Four of Swords here has a gal resting, meditating. Four of Cups here has someone who is too focused on the Three Cups in front of them, but has someone here that's offering the fourth cup to make that person less maybe bored or less focused on those three. Four of Wands here is celebratory. Love all this color and how each color that's coming out of their wands represents each color that they're wearing. And of course, you have four cats here. Four of Pentacles. This is very interesting. This person is like maybe disgruntled or grumpy because they are holding on too tightly of their finances. And the guidebook really brings this in of like, how much is too much of like basically hoarding that. There's a sense that, you know, sometimes hoarding too much is a bad thing. Going into the Five, I really enjoy fives in tarot. It represents conflict. It represents something has not gone according to plan. The Five of Swords here, this witch seemingly has taken all of the swords from these two witches here and basically has taken everything from them. Sometimes that's not a good thing. It can represent karma down the road. The Five of Cups here represents basically crying over spilled milk. Three cups here has spilled, but there's two cups left on the table. I love this interpretation of the Five of Cups because it looks like this is some type of a birthday, and this witch is just crying over things that have spilled, but there's two other things on the table. Five of Wands, I really love this interpretation. It seems as there's too many cooks in the kitchen and the cauldron is spilling over. There's argument between the witches as well as the cats. Love that. Five of Pentacles, very traditional. You have two people here that are very in need of help, of assistance, and they're traveling in the snowy part, the night where there's snow coming down, and they're just really looking for hope, and just in front of them is perhaps a place for refuge. All right, going into the Six Six of Swords is all about taking that journey and moving forward. As you can see here, there's 3 witches that are going on a new journey and going where the wind takes them. As you can see that the wind is just moving them forward. The Six of Cups, I always see this as a nostalgia card, but for this particular card in this deck, it sees it as a kindness card. This person is receiving something, and taking that act of kindness really brings that. Even the smallest act of kindness can make someone say, I love this interpretation. The Six of Wands and the Six of Pentacles, if you don't look at this too closely, you can get these mixed up, which I have and before. The Six of Wands is all about that victory, whereas the Six of Pentacles is about giving and receiving. But I love these interpretations, love the art. I just love the art of this deck in general. I love how it's very charming and charismatic, and I just love it. I just love it. So going into the Seven of Swords, this is a very interesting take. As you can see here, that the wind is blowing the person further into the room, so it assumes that this person is bringing back what they've taken. And then the Seven of Cups here, very traditional. You have a witch that is weighing all the options, and I love all of these different symbols. Seven of Wands, this is the defense card. You have 3, 4, 5, 6 wands that are pointing at this witch. This is definitely an act of defending your ground, standing up for yourself. The Seven of Pentacles, I love this. It is just very earthy. It is very enticing. You have the witch here tending to the grapes, and as you can see here, she's enjoying the wine, basically enjoying the fruits of their labor. Going into the Eight of Swords, this is basically entrapment, but as you can see here, the 8 swords are not bound. They're not like clothes entrapping the person. If the person just took that blindfold off, they can see they're not as trapped as they think they are. The 8 of Cups here is all about that other journey. You've exhausted all of your options and you're just basically moving on. The 8 of Wands, I love this 8 of Wands. The 8 of Wands is always very basic to me, but for the 8 of Wands in the Everyday Witch Tarot, it seems as this is Dorothy and Toto, and they're basically riding out that tornado. It's all about that movement. And the 8 of Pentacles here, this is about honing in her craft. She is basically mastering her element of mixing potions. Going into the 9 of Swords is always one of my favorite cards. It represents nightmares, and this interpretation here, it seems as the sun is rising, and this person has not been to sleep. 9 of Swords has always been that dark card. It's always taking place at night, assumingly, but this one here is interpreted as, even though you're struggling at night to fall asleep, that your mind is overthinking too much, that it's keeping you up, there's always a light at the end of that tunnel. The 9 of Cups, basically wishful thinking, making dreams come true. The witch here seems as she has everything she's ever dreamed of, perhaps at a beach, relaxation, all of that. The 9 of Wands here, kind of similar to the 7 of Wands. Yeah, the defense card here. This is basically almost the end of the wand. So this witch here is badly damaged by the conflict of the 7. As you can see, all the wands here are just burnt out, and there's one left that this person is holding on. This is basically a representation of all the wands that this witch here has probably used to defend theirself. And the 9 of Pentacles, love this 9 of Pentacles. This person is indulging in her abundance. She has her wine. She has some type of food here. She's reading a book. She is living her best life. Going into the 10, the completion of the suit. The 10 of Swords here, you have the 10 swords stabbed in the witch, but she is reaching out to the broom, and you can see here there's someone who was running away as this person, perhaps assumingly, has put all 10 swords in their back. This is about, even though pain comes, it is temporary. You just get back up on your broom. The 10 of Cups, very traditional here. You have 10 cups. You have a family here. It's very lovey-dovey, very traditional. The 10 of Wands, this is about carrying too much responsibility. As you can see here, this witch has 10 brooms, and she is really struggling to go up this hill, and she has a cat that's on her back. It's all about alleviating that unnecessary burden. The 10 of Pentacles, very traditional here. You have a family that's living their best life, living their abundance that they've so deservingly earned. And I've actually got two 10 of Wands when I first got this deck, so I don't know what that means, but let me know in the comments below what that means when you get two 10 of Wands in your deck. So going into the court cards have always been, in general, very confusing to me, very convoluted, but most of the court cards in this deck brings that meaning of each court card and really makes it less convoluting. The Page of Swords here has that young, energetic energy here that's ready to take on what they've learned in these books and just really go forth. Page of Cups here is all about using that expressive or expressing your emotions even at the elementary level of just painting your expressions. The Page of Wands here could be a little difficult, but after reading the guidebook, I get it. This page is very reluctant on going forth, and even though this person is enthusiastic, they're just really reluctant on doing something new. The Page of Pentacles here, this person is venturing out and basically going to use all of their, enthusiastic energy to go towards their goal. All right, going into the Knight. These Knights are all about movement. The Knight of Swords here, as you can see, that the Knight has taken off on their broom and have their sword in the air. They're ready to put forth all of that new idea or the new learning, communication that they have learned in those books. The Knight of Cups. I've always thought the Knight of Cups is the fuckboy of tarot. The Knight of Cups is very lovey-dovey. They're ready to take you out on a date, but they are very quick to move on to the next. As you can see here, this Knight has all this love to give in this one little cup, but this Knight is not staying around too long. The Knight of Wands here, this Knight is all about adventure. This Knight is going forward with their ideas and creating an adventure out of them. As you can see here, it looks like there is a dragon that needs to be slayed, basically writing an adventure or writing an adventure novel. The Knight of Pentacles here, this Knight is ready to go forward and get to work and is not afraid to get dirty. As you can see, it has all of their necessary tools to get the job done. Going into the Queens, the Queen of Swords. This queen is sharp as a knife. She is very talented with her words, but they can cut sharp like a knife. I love this. The Queen of Cups. It has that motherly energy here. It seems she is assumingly pregnant. She is very careful with her words or her emotions. She's very inviting to listen to other people. Very motherly energy here, someone that you would want to go to confide in. The Queen of Wands, she's fierce, she's radiant, she is perched on this dragon as she is tamed. And the Queen of Pentacles here, I love this Queen of Pentacles because as you can see, the throne is actually the roots of the tree, or the back of the throne is the tree, and then you see she's rooted in the ground. This is very a rooted energy. She's very comfortable in her abundance, isn't afraid to show it. The King of Swords here, this king is very sharp, just like the Queen of Swords. However, this king might use more logic. The King of Cups, this one, the King of Cups has always been a little confusing to me. Anyway, this one, as you can see here, that this king is very in control with their emotions, but won't let it rule over them. As you can see here, that there is a mermaid in the back as this mermaid might have been trying to seduce this king, but this king is very in control. And then the King of Wands, I love how this brings the King of Wands in full circle. This king is ready to take on the world, or this king has already been taken over the world and just showing off to this cat of what this king has accomplished. The King of Pentacles, I love this King of Pentacles as this king is having their cake and having some wine, and it's just a really charismatic king. And like all of these court cards, they're very charismatic. They have personality. I love this about the deck. So let's talk about the actual physical cards. It is a Llewellyn production, so it has that thinness to it. It's going to riffle shuffle really well. Some people are, I should say, like Llewellyn cardstock does get a bad reputation, but for me, I really love this type of cardstock because it's going to slide really well. It's going to shuffle really well, and it just feels really good in the hands. Speaking of the actual cards, this is the card backing. It is not reversible, so if you are someone who likes to read reversals, you're gonna know you're gonna know that it is reversed. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just going to shuffle a little bit and pull a card and read from the guidebook. All right, so we got the Two of Pentacles here. All right, Two of Pentacles, a life is a balancing act. Work and play, striving and resting, all things have their time and place. We all try to live a balanced life, but let's face it, few of us succeed. Like the witch on the card, we do our best to keep everything in sync, but life is full of unexpected challenges, and as soon as we think we've got it all together, something new is thrown into the mix, and we are back to trying to find an even footing. The truth is, no one ever manages to maintain perfect balance for long. All we can do is keep on trying and do our best in the face of the real-world issues we all confront. Things to consider. Sometimes this card shows up to remind us that we need to focus a little more attention on balance. Are you working too much and playing too little? Is all of your focus on one area of your life to the detriment of the others? Then it could be that you need to shift things around a bit. On the other hand, maybe this card is an indication that you are worrying too much about getting everything right all the time. If that sounds like you, perhaps the Two of Pentacles has shown up to remind you to cut yourself a little slack. No one gets it right all the time, and that's okay. Overall, this is a near perfect deck for me. I just really love this kind of artwork. It's not necessarily cartoonish, but it's very playful, whimsical, charismatic. It has a lot of personality in each card, and I really dig this about this deck. I love Llewellyn cardstock. I'm a huge fan of Llewellyn Productions, so I might be biased on that. I just love the cardstock. If I got nitpicky, the only things that I would prefer to see is a little bit diversity. It's, it would add a nice little touch. And in fact, they did put in diversity in their Oracle deck, which I will put in the description box below. If you are into oracles, definitely check that out. And the other only thing is that some of the images in these cards really don't hone in the meanings that I would prefer, or it would make things less complicated. I really enjoy this deck. This is my Grand Dame. It is my favorite tarot deck of all time. If I could keep only one tarot deck in my collection, folks, this is it. So let me know in the comments below if you have this deck. What do you think about it? Thank you so much for watching this video and hearing me rant about this deck. It has been a long time coming that I really give my thoughts and opinions on my Grand Dame, my everything, my #1 tarot deck. Again, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you for Tarot by the Pines.